I think the internet needs to understand the reason why I'm going down this dark rabbit hole has very little ultimately to do with being butthurt about being banned, especially when bans are rather trivial for somebody like me to circumvent and even make it very unobvious that I was evading them. That's kind of child's play for somebody at my skill level. Even if it is against the rules, getting away with it is not particularly difficult. I think what infuriated me, and got me to the point in which I was pissed off about it wasn't so much the idea that I was banned. I mean, fine. I mean, I've got more productive things to do with my time. You're freeing me of the distractions, involved in this so that I can focus on something that actually matters, right? And learning something, gaining valuable skills, upskilling, that sort of thing. And, the reason I'm going down the rabbit hole is because of the fraternity esque culture and climate in these subreddits and communities. It's since it's operated that way, it's operated as like a bro culture, and my fuck you to all of this is essentially, in summary, it's not so much that I was banned because it's like, okay, fine, I've got better shit to do with my time, whatever, acceptable and everything. What's got me pissed off at the end of the day, really has very little to do with it has very little to do with the ultimate fact that I was kicked out of it. I've got ultimately better things that I can do with my time, and like I don't know, like watch something fun to watch, or for that matter, engage in put myself through a CTF challenge or whatever. Whatever it is that I decide to do with that time and everything, since I'm not focused on Reddit and its bullshit and all of that stuff. But you know the the really, I mean, what infuriated me wasn't so much that I was kicked out of the community. It was the uneven enforcement where I started a thread and a bunch of people came in and posted abusive replies. I post abusive replies back to those abusive replies, and yet when the banhammer comes down, everybody's insulted. Everybody that commented on it, insulted me, and I insulted them back. But when you look at who gets banned, it's me, which sends the sort of implicit message that the moderators approve of this kind of hazing, and want essentially the culture of a fraternity in the community, such that they want newcomers to be hazed. And it also sends the message that the moderation staff not only is okay with what these people have done, but it specifically endorses it, whether they cop to it or not. They're not admitting to it, but the implicit message is you deserve this, and so you should sit down, shut up, and tolerate it. From these bans, it's really got nothing to do with the fact that I was banned. It was the fact that in this thread you had a bunch of people who had broken the same rules against abusive content and abusive posts that contained personal insults and all that other stuff by you know uh, posting content that was personally insulting. And when a banhammer comes down, it only comes down on me, which it's not so much fuck you, you banned me. It's I like, my demand is literally just for fairness. I mean, like, fine, you've banned me, whatever. I've got better shit to do with my time anyways than chatter about UK politics. What I'm pissed off about ultimately is the reality ultimately that, you know, only I was banned, only I've been targeted by the enforcement actions of these parties in question. Sometimes, you know, you need to pay like really close attention to what people are saying, because like my my ultimate rage, in that thread that I've linked multiple times in other videos, is really like, if there's butthurt about anything, it isn't that I was banned. Like I said, I don't actually give a fuck about that. What I care about is the way that content moderation is actually being done, and it's being done in a way that, engages in selective enforcement. And I realize that I've spent 6 minutes trying to tell you that, which is such bullshit. But yeah, no, in summary, not really a great video if it has to take that long. But no, what I'm pissed off about is ultimately the selective enforcement. That's what's got me, enraged, because it really at this point has nothing to do with, feeling victimized or any of that other stuff, or feeling like I've lost something of value or any of that. What it has to do with is just the the frustration that I feel that certain people get away with a bunch of, on these platforms, get away with basically metaphorically murder, while, people like me are the ones that the bans fall down on, and it's that issue of unfairness that gets me livid. Why should why should I have to tolerate the insults and respond cordially to them? Why why is it that, this is happening, and the message is being sent, that the mods are in with the bullies by doing things this way, and anyways, I fuck you all, I'm out. That's what I wanted to tell you. uh Thank you, kind viewer, for your 7 minutes of time, and I hope you have a great day.